What's going on, everyone? From LowKick MMA, my name is Dane Podolsky, and I'm joined with Mike the Truth Jackson. He is set to return to the octagon at Caged Aggression on October 14th when he takes on Pat Milotic. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time.
No doubt, baby. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we've talked before. This is a bit of an interesting fight. Pat Milotic, 55 years old. He hasn't fought in 50.
57. I don't know where everybody keeps telling me he's 57. You can't take away them 2 years. Those 2 years matter at his age.
All right, in his mid 50. I'll take your word and say 57. He hasn't fought in 15 years. It's a bit of a odd matchmaking fight. I want to know how this fight came together, and for you, how's training been going?
Man, training has been going spectacular, if I'm being honest, man. I'm in a different given that I'm 38, I'm in a different position. Crazy thing is like yesterday was the 15th anniversary of my MMA debut. And given that as I've aged in this sport, I had to change a lot of things up, man. I'm stretching, I'm drinking way more water. I have to go see the chiropractor and get massages every week. I've realized that recovery is one of the best assets to training in this sport and just fighting in general. Like if you're not doing the recovery part, and for me, I wasn't. Like I would just go train and then I'd go home and eat and hang out or whatever. But age kind of caught up, and recovery is very important. So for me, it's been a lot focused on that, making sure my body is I'm a machine. This is a machine over here that we're operating. So I want to make sure everything is going well. I've been, my home gym is Main Street with Bob Perez. But for this camp, I ventured out a little bit. I got an invite from the Jitsu master Eves Edwards. He invited me to the gym over there, and it's helped training. It's added to the toolbox considerably. He has top regional guys there, but then he also has guys like Adrian Yanez, Emmanuel Sanchez, Rafian Stotts in under his wing right now. So it's been such an honor, if I'm being honest, to be under his tutelage for the past maybe like month or so. And every day I'm in the gym with him in the training room, I'm learning something,
Mhm.
which hasn't been for a long time right now. So training is going well, closing it up right now, feeling amazing. To the point of how this fight came about. This is a crazy story, right? So for everyone that knows, Pat Milotic, he's very much MAGA. He's a QAnon conspiracy guy. He was at the Jan 6 insurrection, right? So Pat is documenting all. Like he didn't have to do all that, right? But these guys that's doing that. You saw like people going into the Capitol, storming the building, their face, they're Facebook Live in it, right? And Pat himself, he documented his experience insurrection. He posted. So I kind of like commented on that. Well, comes back and he does a video and he's like, "Oh man, Mike Jackson got me fired because of his article he posted." Well, he never got fired. And I found it because Ed Soares called me himself because he didn't like the shit that I said. Because I was like, "Yo, uh, Pat Miletich got fired for going to the Klan rally at the Capitol." But that didn't happen. What happened was Ed called Pat and was like, "Yo, we saw you was at the Capitol. Why don't you sit out this week for a show? We'll have you back next week." I don't know how that got lost in translation, but for whatever reason, in Pat's mind, he was fired. So he makes a video saying he was fired. So I blog or I document based off of his video, right? Ed calls and was like, "Yo, Pat, we didn't fire you. We just told you not to come." He takes the video down. He puts up another video. It's like, "Oh, Mike got me fired, like this, that, and the other." Again, never got fired. So people are on the thread saying, "Yo, y'all should fight." And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not fighting Pat. Like, this dude's old. Like, I'm not fighting Pat Milotic, right? So he's going on about, bro, we can make so much money in this, that, and the other. So I'm like, whatever you say, Pat. Fast forward, he's hindsight, probably hella drunk at like midnight, 1 in the morning. He's texting me. He's like, yo, you're a Marxist, communist, fascist. And I was like, Pat, you have no idea what any of those words mean. He's like, no, no, no. He said some crazy wild shit like God is gonna strike me down for like he said like I ruined his legacy. I cost him money. I messed up his kids' future. All of these. And I'm like, but you literally, this is all your fault. So he's telling me he wants to fight me. And I'm like, dude, go to sleep. It's past your bedtime. He's talking about, I'm going to knock you out in under like 3 minutes. I'm like, cool, go to sleep. And then this was 20, this was last year, so 2022. Fast forward to like 2020, fast forward to January this year, I get an email from a promoter was like, yo, Pat really wants to fight and we want to put this on a card. And I was like, wait, what? Y'all are serious about this? Fast forward to like May, June, like, because we were going back and forth here and there. Um, June comes around, I get an email. Hey, we ready to go. And so we work out the numbers. Well, they figure out, they're trying to figure out how they're gonna do, how they're gonna monetize it. Like it makes sense. Like this is a big fight. This is a big spectacle of a fight. You want to monetize the best you can. So we're working out the details. The numbers are amazing, and I was ready to go. And so it really came down to Pat Milotic being in his feelings because he couldn't take responsibility for his own actions, and he put the blame on me. And he wants to fight. So when you, as someone who essentially like I'm a prize fighter, I fight for money, and this was an amazing pay. Like I'm getting UFC money for this fight. You know what I'm saying? And so I couldn't turn it down. I couldn't pass up the opportunity, and I'm excited. Come October 14th to really bust this dude's ass.
I know you're a prize fighter, you're fighting for the money, but just given all the back and forth and all the stuff that Pat Miletich just said about you and at the press conference, there's got to be a much bigger sense of motivation for you in this fight.
Dude, I mean, sure. Like, I'm probably not fighting just any other random 57-year-old fighter. Like, because it's crazy. Because like, I had like little white nationalist trolls in my comments. I mean, bro, like, you should fight my grandpa next. And I was like, look, if I'm getting paid to fight your grandpa, I mean, cool. Um, I mean, there's obviously, yeah, there's a little bit more because like I don't see. Here's the thing, man. Like these people's ideology, right? Like I don't take it personal. Like they have their stand. Like this is essentially like a war, right? Like a forever war, essentially. And I don't want to waste my energy and my bandwidth on like being mad at these people. Like I don't Pat Miletich. I don't. I'm not mad at him. He literally means, but the guy stands for some really like white nationalist shit. And that's the part, like for me, as someone who's pro black, who's anti white nationalist, um, I okay, here's what I'll say. Think about it like so if you're someone like at a rally, right, and you're pro healthcare or whatever, chanting for healthcare, but then across the street, you got a bunch of Nazis, right? They're chanting, they're essentially like your enemies. Like y'all can't get into an actual fight in the streets because they're laws, right? I have the opportunity that so many people throughout history have really desired and craved, right? I get to go out and punch, and then I get to get paid for it, and like there are no repercussions. Like I get to do my maximum damage within like until the ref stops the fight, essentially, right? And so again, I was like outside of the money, it's that. But for me, I guess given like it's such a nuanced conversation. Um, it's such an outlier in the sport because you don't get these types of attractions in the industry. Whether again it's fighting, but it's also a sport. It's martial arts. There's supposed to be respect. We've seen guys who hate each other in the build up, right? And then after the fight, they're shaking hands. Ah, man, like this fight, blah. That's not this. Like there will be none of that. Even like again, someone asked me a question like, "Yo, how could there ever be resolved to this?" And for me, there can never be resolved given what his position is. But I would say I would respect him more as a person if he owned up to his own actions and he apologized for it. Like he apologized for saying, "Yo, man, like I was wrong, my bad, etc." I would respect that. Now, I can never respect him as a man any longer, just given who he is. But I would respect his apology. I'm not going to shake his hand or anything like that because, like, I don't shake hands or not. So to the point, I'm doing it more than for the money because it's I get to punch Nazis to get paid for it. But it has a bit. I'm kind of doing it for the culture in that respect.
I think I want to make something like clear. I feel like the people who that without me trying to get political is I think a lot of people will say that you're anti-white. You're anti-white nationalist.
And that see here. So here's the thing: like these people can't differentiate between the two because in their mind, these are the people who they're white nationalists, right? And it's all about labels to these people. So like yeah, the reason I call people like Jay Shields Nazis for one, like they no, they're not Germany, Hitler, whatever, but they have the same ideology, right? And it's about labeling and branding. They know what the label Nazi means, and that's why they have such a disdain for it. Oh, don't call me that. But you have the same ideology as the Nazis and the Klansmen. And my thing is, I would respect you more if you own your shit. Like I tell these people all the time, they be in my comments, and I'm like, yo, like David Duke would not be pleased with your comment right now because you're a coward. You have these beliefs, and when you're called out on it, you just don't like the label. And that's really what this is. So when I talk about these people and they're like, oh, you're anti-white, I've never said one negative thing about a white person. All of my rhetoric and my rhetoric goes to white nationalism. And those are two different things. But again, because they're both white and white nationalists and they hate labels, they conflate the two. But again, also the other thing is these people aren't intelligent. They don't have the aptitude to distinguish the two. Like these people are raised a certain way and they believe what they believe until they don't believe it anymore. And I'm not like my role isn't to teach these people how to be better, how to be, I don't want to say better white people, but how to be not be a racist white person because it's ingrained in these individuals.
Mhm.
Again, not my place to teach them. So I react the way I react based off of their actions. And then they get mad at me. Ah, oh, you hate white people. I was like, you've never heard me say anything negative about it. I love it. Look, if you're a good person, you cool in my book. This piece of shit. It's as simple as that. And they, like I said, they can't distinguish between the two, and that's on them.
Fair enough. And for someone like Pat Milotic, we talked a little bit before the interview. I know what you're gonna say, but do you think he should still be fighting?
You know what I'm saying? No, he shouldn't be fighting. This is something that he doesn't know anything else.
Mhm.
He feels that I have taken his livelihood from him, which is crazy. Like, if Pat weren't such a like he could have been MAGA, right? Because I know a lot of people who are MAGA, but they voted for Trump, but like they shut the fuck up. Like they voted for him, and you know the crazy. I was watching Dave Chappelle special from 2000 called "Killing Him Softly," one of my favorite stand-ups, and he has a bit about like voting, and he's talking about like, yeah, so you ask this white dude who he's voting for, and then whoa, why are you asking me who I'm voting for? Right, like that's something and I remember, right, I'm 38, so I remember a time when politics, what like particularly white people didn't discuss their like we knew they're going to be Republican, but they didn't speak about it. we're now in an era where these people are essentially like cult members to and I know it's to Donald Trump. It's not even to the. This isn't the same Republican Party from 2000, right? This is now this white nationalist first party with the MAGAs, right? And these people are flying flags and they got banners and like they're saying some flagrant shit out here. So we're living in a different time, particularly about who you ride with. And again, like they can't not because that's their beliefs and ideology. They can't not do it now for whatever reason. It's so weird to me.
So for you, your last couple fights, you're the older guy in the cage, fighting young guys like Dean
Oh,
Barry and Pete Rodriguez. This
that
time,
sucks.
even
That
at
sucks.
38 years old, you're the young gun there against.
I'm the young gun in the fight now.
Mhm. How's that changed the mindset at all?
Oh man, I just give it in fighting. I'm a real laid back. I'm a laid back person in life. But in a fight, I like to read a little bit more. I like to like analyze the fight, and sometimes I get a little lackadaisical, which kind of cost me in the Pete fight. Um, but I understand where my skill sets lie. I understand. Look, even in the Dean Barry fight, you had this kid who's exceptionally quick, and he's throwing these crazy strikes at wild speeds, and he couldn't hit me. Like that was the thing about the Dean Barry fight. People are like, he didn't start hitting me until the second foul. Like he kicked me in the dick twice, but one was his most powerful strike. It was a spinning back kick, right? Before that, again, his only strike landed was the first dick kick that he landed, right? I'm everything that he's throwing, I'm able to avoid. He's not, and again, this is a young man who's throwing like everything into these shots, and he's hitting air with it. And so, given what Pat's age and what he's able to do, look, I'm not fighting. I'll even give him 38. I'm not fighting a 38-year-old Pat Milotic. I respect him as a pioneer of the sport. I respect his credentials and what he brings to the table. But father time is real. Like I'm a logical person, and I understand uh, the body, the physics of the body, the human body, and what it's capable of. And there's going to be severe limitations to what Pat Miletich is able to do. Yes, he's going to have the old man strength. 100%. There's no taking it back about that, right? He's gonna have the strength. But when it comes to his reflexes, when it comes to his vision, when it comes to his speed and quickness, those are diminished. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm gonna have like you see at the gym, you see those real big heavy bags that people are kicking, like they're just real heavy, like probably like a 300-pound heavy bag. And if you hit it, like it barely moves. Like I feel like that's essentially what I have to do is just not get hit by this big heavy bag for a few minutes. And then after that, he's going to be dwindled. And my objective is to drown him in this fight. I don't feel he has. Again, this is a new era of fighting. I've not the same fighter I was for the Pete Rodriguez fight, which was a year ago, let alone the Dean Barry or a CM Punk fight. Like I'm not the same guy. And there's evolution for him. He physically can't learn new shit. Like you can't teach this guy new. I mean, maybe I mean, but it's again within the context of him being 57. How much can a 57-year-old man learn new? Right? Can't teach a dog new tricks. Is what they say. I don't know. That's what they say. I don't know. But we're gonna find out. But to your point, I just don't feel he has what it takes. If we're looking at this as a war, like a military engagement, um, I don't feel he has the necessary defense to stop my offense. And so I'm about to unload on him. He doesn't have the power to do.
And strictly looking at fighting, like we've talked before, and you've told me how the CM Punk fight, to you kind of treat it like a sparring match because you saw CM Punk wasn't, in your words, a true fighter or someone who could fight.
Mhm.
Pat Milotic is a guy who at 57, maybe you don't think he should be fighting. I'm not gonna give my opinion on that, but I have my own opinions on it. But maybe he shouldn't be fighting at 57. But just given, the political beliefs and all the back and forth between you guys, I'm assuming you're coming to knock this guy out and not treat it like a sparring match.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this is definitely not the a CM Punk fight. Because I understand, like, there are also dangers. Like, there's definitely dangers with someone. Again, he's 57. His 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 knowledge hasn't depleted. Like, he still has the same knowledge he did 20 years ago.
Mhm.
It's just what he's able to do physically has depleted. So no, this isn't someone who I feel can't fight. He 100% can fight, right? I just have to beat him to the spots before he's able to do anything. I'm 100% going out there to, again, like I said at the press conference. I If he's not carried out on the stretcher, then I didn't do my job. I'm really going in there to really hurt him.
He picked up a DUI after the press conference, right?
No, before the press conference.
Oh, okay.
Before there was the more it was, I guess he started drinking the night before, and then he got 3 in the morning.
So when you see something like that, you gotta believe he's in for the money more than anything else.
Yeah, he has to be. But that's the crazy. Like, his motivation is that I've ruined his life. I've taken his livelihood away from him. So yeah, he does need the money because, again, this all he knows is fighting. But that's one aspect for him. But at the other time is he really hates what I've done to him. He's taking it personal. And when you have fighters who take these things personal, like, they want to fight you. Like, I say something to talk about Jake Shields. Like, um, he was saying like some wild, flagrant shit on Twitter, and I just called him out about it, trying to have like a conversation. His response to me was like, "Yo, let's fight." I'm like, "Wait, but we're having a conversation. We're not fighting right now." And so with Pat Miller, I'm someone who feels that I wronged them. Let's fight. And so I'm fighting Pat Miller.
Let me ask you, in your heart of heart, do you think Pat Miletich genuinely does believe that you ruined his life? He definitely believes when
Yes,
when he pitches politically.
yes,
Because my
yes.
question is, do you think he genuinely believes you ruined his life, or do you think he feels like you're an easy target within the fight world who he can call out to kind of blame an entire group of people?
I Look, these people, like these MAGA and QAnon people, I 100% in my heart believe they believe the things that they're saying. Like, when they put it out in the world, it's like, okay, I'll give you Kobe Covington, right? Before you had Kobe, who when no one was really talking about him, he was doing his thing, and he picked up, like, he tried to go like the pro wrestling route, and he picked up the MAGA gimmick, right? In his mind, initially, it probably was just a gimmick. But again, this is real life fighting. And in real life, like, you can't just turn that off. Particularly the gimmick of being a MAGA, right? Being in that sphere. So you essentially believe what you're saying. Like, when this dude is out here saying like some wild inflammatory stuff to people, like, this is real life. You have to be like, you can't get on stage and say some wild disrespectful shit to somebody, and then you get in the bag, you're like, man, I was just playing. I ain't mean that shit. Like, no, like, particularly his level of fuckery. I feel he 100% in his heart believes it. So to Pat, I feel he feels I am the cause of his downfall, which is, again, it's an accountability thing. I didn't do that. Crazy thing is how I was talking to somebody about it, and I can't remember who his name at the time. He had also written a story about Pat going to the insurrection, and so for him, he tells me, he's like, yeah, like, I called up Ed Suarez just to get like his side from an LFA's like point of view. He said, at no point during the conversation did your name come up. And then I look because I was like, I wasn't at fault. You have all of these outlets who wrote stories about him going to the insurrection because he posted he went to the insurrection. And you can't because in his mind, he again, even at the press conference we did, he stands by we were going up there personal freedoms. And like, no, like y'all were trying to overthrow the government. Like, stop it. Like the FBI reached out to him. Like, that's how serious this shit is. But these people in their minds and their beliefs, they're right. And again, it got nothing to do with me. I gotta bust his ass though.
For you have your own sort of brand style. I see the shits and giggles shirt. I know that's sort of your brand. I think first of all, I'll give you a chance to give the promo because I'm sure you want people to buy your merch.
We gonna get it, baby. I tell you, the shits and giggle brand is coming. You can follow on Instagram. After this fight, I probably gonna like the walkout shirt. Even the shirt that I wore at the press conference had the Pat Milotic with the saltine cracker eyes. All of it's going to be that kind of apparel on the line when we launch here.
So, let me give you a pitch. I think you could sell spin and kick to the dick shirts too.
Okay, so I didn't think about that one, but I have a great shot of Dean with the eye gouge when he was like knuckle deep in my eye. I'm gonna do one of those for sure.
Yeah. I'll be the first one to buy it when you do.
My man.
And then so you're going up to Iowa for this fight. When do you leave
Yeah.
for that?
Thursday. So this is gonna be one of their 2-day events. And they're doing Friday night, go up Thursday. I'm probably not going to go to the Friday fights. I'm gonna go out there on Thursday, have a good time. Got my security with me. I never been Iowa for the press conference. I'm thinking I'm going to Clan Country. But come to find out, it's a lot of Mexicans in Davenport. My people, I love it. Let's go. Viva Mexico. It was a cool little vibe, and I got some respect from a lot of the people, even Pat Miletich fans who came up to the conference and was like, "Yo, like I'm a Pat Miletich fan, but I like what you were saying. Like it made a lot of sense." I was like, "Of course it does. I get it. Like y'all can't believe all the wild shit this dude was saying." But no, I'm definitely going out there, finish up the whatever little weight that I have to lose. I'm gonna have security out there with me because I know there's gonna be some wild people out there. They trying to get to that fighter hotel, so got to be safe.
For you're obviously from Houston, based down there. How do you feel about the current state of MMA in Houston? And before you're done fighting, are you hoping to get another fight, in your city?
Man, I don't like it. For me, as far as fighting, it has to be a money fight. It has to be something that makes sense, no matter where it is. But as far as the current state, look, man, this sport. I was having a conversation with Adrian Yanez yesterday, and we was kind of we were revisiting back his amateur days, and this is probably like 2012, probably 2011, and we were just kind of reminiscing. And that particular time, that was the best time for Houston MMA. Was those early 2010. That would be a time we will never see again. But I think overall, given the fighters coming out of the scene, we're seeing this is the best we've seen it, right? Even this weekend, we have like Alex Morono fighting. I've been a friend of his. We've been friends since our amateur days, I should say. He has a big, like I say, fight with King Buckley this weekend. Even next weekend, Adrian Yanez is fighting wherever the card is the same day as I'm fighting. We have a lot of guys. I'll even go back as one of the OGs of Houston MMA, Daniel Pineda, who's not he may be like one of the first homegrown individuals to make it to the UFC and do and have success. Then he left and now he's back. He's on a resurgence of his career. And to see one of the OGs of the sport doing his thing is amazing. Guys like Trevin Giles. We have other up and comers who've competed on the Contender Series. Zach Reese, he's a young heavy. I think he's a heavyweight too. I think he's a heavyweight. He's a big dude. I don't think he's a 205. He's heavyweight. We have some amazing talent. that's making it to the top, whether it just stand at the UFC level, whether in Bellator or PFL. Even we have guys like Rafion Stotts, who's out here now, training with ease, um, doing his thing over in Bellator. Hopefully we get him at Manuel Sanchez. He comes in and he trains a little bit. Hopefully we can get him as a permanent fixture out here in Houston too. He's an amazing training partner. We have some solid talent out here in the city, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. With I think it's one of those things. Is everything's going to grow proxy. You start attaching yourself to like these high class individuals. You can only grow. You can only get better, particularly on the training room. And so I think that's what we're seeing in the city currently.
Yeah, and just to touch on a couple things you mentioned, Alex Morono fights Joaquin Buckley this weekend. That's a fantastic fight on paper. I recently started a podcast called Tuesday MMA Talk Dan Dave, so I'm gonna give myself a little shout out on that one. Go give it a follow. But we broke down that fight, and I think Alex Morono is one of the most chronically underrated fighters in the UFC.
Dude, I've been again. He was in my corner for like my second amateur fight. We were out in Louisiana. I don't know if he fought. No, I don't think he fought. But he was in my corner. We've been friends ever, for this is what 2008. So yeah. So I made my debut October 4th, 2008, and then this fight was like November-ish 2008. But I've been able to see his progression from the amateur level to the professional locally, becoming a champion, now in the UFC. And underrated is an understatement. Like, he is by far talented individuals. And then, the crazy thing is for him, like, his jujitsu is so nasty, but he just he wants to be on the feet. Like, he wants to keep it like, that's the crazy thing. Like, you take him down, like, you are in some trouble with him. But he's like, yeah, but even on the feet, because he just throws hammers. Like, he throws bangers like all fight, and so it's just amazing to see the his accomplishments as a gym owner, Gracie Baja in the Woodlands. I'm really happy for him. He's done very well for himself.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot. Like, I feel like with Morono, he's and tell me if I'm wrong, because you train with him, you know the guy. I've talked to him a couple times in this setting, but I don't know him personally. I feel like he's chronically overlooked because his finish rate isn't the highest, and also just like he isn't gonna get on the mic and call these guys out, and he doesn't. He just looks like your average guy. Like, tell me if I'm wrong on that. He doesn't look like a professional fighter, but he's so well rounded in every aspect of his game.
Those are fair assessments. He's never been like the talker. Like, that's not his thing. He's out there to fight. I and again, his look. He just he been looking like a little baby face for a while. He's starting to come into himself. He's starting to look like an adult now. But yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's really all those things. And again, he's a very respectful guy, so he's not gonna get on the mic and start calling someone out, and then it comes across as like he's talking shit. He just like, bro, I'm here. I want to be the best in the world. I want to fight, and that's it. And whoever y'all put in front of me, like, I remember when he fought Donald Cerrone, I was like, oh shit, Alex about to fight Donald Cerrone, and looked amazing. Right, he did his thing. And I can't remember. He's fought some other like, and that respect, and he's done well. And so, like I said, I'm just happy for him, man, because he's living the dream. He's living the dream for sure.
Yeah, certainly. He's fought a ton of big names, guys like Ponzinibbio. That's a fight he was winning until he got knocked out. And
Yeah.
Same thing, Nico Price. Fight he was winning, ended up losing that one, but then I think he's got a win over Matt Semmelsberger, is a really good win. He's been there with guys like Anthony Pettis, so he's
Yeah.
has a really solid resume to him. So that'll be a good fight to watch. Adrian Yanez too, another one of your teammates you mentioned. He's fighting Jonathan Martinez on the same night you fight. How do you see that fight playing out for him?
Dude, that's gonna be a fun fight. I've been able to watch Jonathan on the regional level as well. I know those guys over at Factory X, solid team. That's one of my favorite teams. Like, when I get to travel, when I'm in Denver, I'm either I go out to Elevation Fight Team with Sean Madden and Elliot Marshall. And then I also get to go out with the Factory X guys, and just both teams are dope. I look, A's my guy. I love him. I know Jonathan. I'm just excited for the fight. I'm being honest with you. I'm not. I look. I just want to excited fight. I don't want to say. I'm just excited for the fight. And I think it's going to be a fun fight because you have two highly skilled individuals who are about to bang it out, and these are guys who live for this. They're not there to get the decision win. They're both going in for the finish, and I think that's going to make for an exciting fight.
And I could not get out of an interview with Mike Jackson without asking you about Derrick Lewis. Obviously,
Hey,
one of your close friends.
yo, Derrick got abs now, bro. Y'all see the abs? Oh my gosh, that's a Derrick Lewis.
And so his last fight too. So I was actually working. I was working at a summer camp during that fight. And I was watching his fight with Delima. So I was like a sleepaway counselor, right? And so I'm watching that fight, like in my cabin, and my kids were asleep. And so I was watching that fight, and when Derrick Lewis hits that switch knee, I was trying so hard to just not start just going absolutely crazy and just waking up, all my kids in that cabin. That was one of the nuttiest knockouts I think we've seen of the year.
Right.
Where do you see him going forward? And what was seeing that knockout like for you?
Dude, it was amazing. I'm telling you, it was the ab. That was the most amazing thing because I haven't seen him. Even when he was like a smaller heavyweight, like in the 230s, like low two, he wasn't chiseled like that. He wasn't defined. But I think that attributes to his training. He's definitely taken to another level, and I guess he's hungry again, or more hungry. I don't know what his mom now. But I am really excited for him because I feel he wants to be in his mind. He wants to be champion, and it takes a lot of effort and work to get to that level. And I feel he's doing what he needs to do to accomplish that, and it's definitely in the cards for him. And I'm just excited. I'm excited. Like even like I said, back to Pineda, this new resurgence and these guys coming back after so they've been fighting for so long, and then they look like new individuals. Like these are new people, new fighters now. You can say the same about Derrick Lewis, and like I said, I'm really excited for what he has next. I love the evolution of you because it's all about evolving in this game, man. You can't stay stagnant because people will pick up on it, and that's kind of like what happened, I guess, in the fight. We kind of a little stagnant, so you picked up on that and did what he had to do. And then Daryl's like, nah, we got to revamp. And I feel that's what he's done. And so we've seen this new Derrick Lewis and whew, scary man.
And so the final thing I got to ask you about, I'm not even going to phrase this as a question, but just Mike, just tell me the Jake Shields story from your perspective.
All right, here's the thing, right? Jake Shields says some wild and fun on Twitter. I question about like, yo, why are you saying what? Look, if you go to his Twitter feed, he doesn't even hide it. He's openly and blatantly posting white nationalist shit and his beliefs, whether it's for engagement or not. So I question about it. And he's like, yo, let's fight. I'm like, I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just trying to figure out why you talking the way you talking. No, let's fight. I was like, fine. If you want to fight, the terms of you fighting, you come to Houston, we put on some boxing. Look, I'm not fighting Jake Shields in MMA. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So, look, you want to box? I'll fucking box. No, you a pussy, blah, blah, blah. Look, these are the terms. You want to fight me? Here are the terms. So he kind of like brushes that off. Fast forward to the PI. I just had to fight. I was recovering from surgery, trying to get a workout in. I don't know. I'm gonna say it was a coincidence. I don't think he knew. I don't because I wasn't posting. I was there, so it was just a coincidence. He comes up, he sees me, and he's like, "Racist Mike Jackson." And I'm like, "Cool. Like I'm gonna get back to my workout. You're gonna come here and do what you have to do. I'm gonna do what I'm doing." And he essentially like prevents me from working out. Like he spits on me. And again, I'm got my gloves on. He's barehanded. So I'm not trying to fight this dude. Because if I still off on Jake in that moment, again, I'm recovering from face surgery. If I still off on him, and then it's gonna be a fight. And then he has every right to fight back if I hit him. So I'm like, don't hit this dude, particularly in this setting. So then I start looking around, and then he has like three or four or more. It was like six guys overall, right? So then he has essentially backup. I'm by myself. I know what street fights look like and gang attacks look like. I'm trying to avoid it. He's kept egging it on. I'm like, look, man, I'm not fighting. Like, I don't know why you think I'm fighting you, particularly at the PI. Like, and then I'm like, there are cameras everywhere. Up here, no one came up there, right? So I'm finally trying to get my stuff. He grabs me from behind, pulls me down, and like he takes me out. But it happened it was so slow. I'm like, wait, what's happening here? And then he's on top of me. So I cover up because again, I got to protect my face that I'm recovering from surgery from. So I'm like, but then I guess the video's recorded. I didn't know that until like much later in the day. But so in the video saying, yo, can someone get this dude off me? Like, I'm just talking like this. Like, because again, I'm thinking, like, why are y'all standing around, like, letting this dude do this, right? Because again, I wasn't trying to fight him in that situation. And then also, if we were going to fight, we would be like in the octagon that we were on the floor beside, right? But again, he's a thug, wants to do the street fighter thing. So he's on top and like, he's still like, if I people like, oh, like you don't know jujitsu, you could like shrimp and escape or whatever. If I escape, my hands have to come from my face. He's throwing like hard elbows. I'm like, there's no way like I'm gonna move my hands from my face and let this dude get a clean shot on my face. Um, Finally, like I'm like, all right, dude, can y'all get this dude off me? So they finally like, all right, enough. They get him off. And again, like the dude has spit on me. He spit on me twice. And first I wasn't gonna do nothing. Just kind of like decompress or whatever. Forrest Griffin comes down like, Mike, we saw what happened. You should press charges. Or no, let me rephrase. I'm gonna misquote him. He was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, do you want to call the cops? And I was like, oh shit, I don't know. Well, all I'm thinking is there's surveillance video, right? But then I'm going to eat. I've already showered, washing the dude spit off me, washing sweat off me. The head of security eat lunch was like, yo, we seen the videos. I was like, wait, what videos? And he says, and he shows me the video that Jake posted. And then I was like, all right, press charges. And so essentially it was a long back and forth thing because it was like miscommunication. So I had to do everything from here. And but even to that, like people keep thinking like that was a fight. Like the dude jumped me from behind. I still want to fight him. I've already laid to fighting him, and he says agree, but he's pussing out. So I don't know. Maybe because he has the criminal trial about to happen whenever they find because he didn't appear for his arraignment, so he has a warrant out right now. So we have to do that, the criminal side of it. But then there's definitely gonna be a civil side of this, and then maybe he'll want to fight me after. I don't know, but Jake Shields is a Nazi piece of shit and a coward, man. Like he's not an art like this dude and I'm a martial art. Like he's none of that. He's an opportunist. He's a try hard. He only doing all of this for because he no one likes him, and he just has to. He needs attention in his life, and that's what all of this is about for him. He feels he's out of the spotlight now, and this is his way to stay relevant by being a white nationalist on social media. But there are consequences for actions. You can't attack people like he's saying oh, we were fighting and I got the best of. That didn't happen. Like I wasn't fighting you. You grabbed me from and attacked me. Like that's not respectful. That's not honorable. So nah, he's definitely gonna pay for that shit. One way or the other. And like I said, I want to fight him. Like I've laid the terms out to him. I gave him, look, you even want to make some money? Dude, let's make some money. He was like, nah, you a pussy. He wants to fight me like UFC one bare knuckle rules. I was like, dude, like I'm not doing that. Like I gave him the terms, boxing, no rounds, go till someone gets knocked out or quits. And there, you get your opportunity. But he's a pussy, so we'll see what happens.
Is there a certain amount of money you could be offered to fight the guy in MMA?
No, for what? Like I don't get it. There's nothing I get out of fighting Jake Shields in MMA, knowing what his skill set is. Like I'm not trying to stop Jake Shields' takedown. Like he's really good at what he does. Cool. Level the playing field from a fighting perspective. Box or kickbox. You're a world champion. You're Jake Shields. right? And so there's where it makes no sense for me to do that, you know. So
And so you press charges against him. Where is that process at?
and Vegas and Clark County, and even like it wasn't the press charges. I found out the police report, and the district attorney was like, "Yo, like this dude's a piece of shit. We take it to trial." So that's on a district at this point. This is on a district attorney's point. So if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the district attorney because he didn't have to. They didn't have to take the case, but they did because Jake Shields is a coward piece of shit.
Fair enough. Well, Mike, there's a reason I love talking to you. One of the most interesting guys in MMA, and I can't. I'm not gonna give my political beliefs, but I'm certainly with you on a lot of it, and it's always a pleasure having you on.
Appreciate
Thanks
you,
for
man.
taking the time, and just my
So
final.
then, hey, October 14th, cageaggression.tv, pay-per-view by the bus, MMA legend, pioneer, whatever you want to call Pat Mills, is about to bust his ass.
Final question. You kind of already hit on it, but just official prediction. October 14th, Mike Jackson, Pat Milotic. Mike, give me your official prediction.
Dude, he's dying in the cage. Like, they're carrying him out. Like, he won't survive this night.
Fair enough. Well, Mike, I'm wishing you the best of luck. If there are any socials or people you want to shout out, go right ahead.
Hey, of course, the brand, Shits and Giggles brand, follow me on Instagram. Of course, my gym, Main Street. And then, of course, Thug Jitsu Master Man, Eves Edwards. Give a shout out to these guys. These have been very influential people in my life in this camp, and shout out to them.
Fair enough. Well, Mike, once again, I'm wishing you the best of luck. Guys, Mike the Truth Jackson returns to the Octagon on October 14th for Caged Aggression. He takes on former UFC champion Pat Milotic. Mike, best of luck to you, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Man, be good.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.